Welcome to Cross the Line Sports. My name is Carlos Smith here in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. With me right now, I have another member of the Myrtle Beach Pelicans, pitcher Nick Dean. Nick, how are you?
I'm doing great, man. How are you today?
I'm doing well, doing well. So how are you feeling, from last night's game up until now, trying to finish up the last night's game and then going into today's?
Yeah, right. It's definitely interesting trying to just keep the same intensity because, we're resuming the game in extra innings. And obviously one play could be like make or break for the game. So just really coming in and being locked in, I think that's just going to be the biggest part.
How would you describe, from a pitcher standpoint, how would you describe your performance so far this year? Because I know pitchers can't pitch every single game.
Right.
How do you view your performance so far this season?
I feel like I'm in a really good spot right now, both mentally and physically. I've been staying pretty consistent with my routines, and everything's starting to click at the right time.
What do you do on those days, just out of curiosity, on those days that you're not pitching? What is your routine like? Are you resting your arm, or are you doing certain things that
Right, so earlier in the day, I try to get some mobility in and just get all the blood flowing. And then after that, do some soft tissue, the foam roll, do some dynamics, and then get your throwing in for the day, do some drill work, like just things that, like specifically for me, we've been working on my lower half a little bit. So just doing that and then just doing some arm care afterward and just making sure the body's right.
Although, and I asked Jacob this earlier, although it's still early in the season, are you viewing these games right now as must-win games, or how do you look at them? Because it's still a long way to go, but you just don't want to get too far behind the eight ball.
Right.
It's like you're just constantly chasing games. How are you viewing these games today?
Yeah, how I'm viewing them is just as long as we take care of our business. We know what we have to do in order to be successful, and as long as we execute our plan, we'll be in the right spot and just try to stay in the moment and just be with each game and take it as its own.
It's a lot of things that, us as fans, we don't get to see, like the behind the scenes work of what you guys put into making everything go.
Right.
And with you being inside the locker room, just describe the pulse of the team right now. As you guys, even though it's early season, you're still building your chemistry. What's the pulse of the locker room right now?
The locker room, we got a lot of great guys, a lot of different personalities, so it's kind of cool to see them all collide and just kind of interact with each other, so that's been awesome. Guys from a lot of different backgrounds from all over the world, so it's just kind of cool to see everyone be together.
Jacob mentioned earlier he plays right field, and also center, wherever he needs him. Trying to get these guys, into defined roles, is it tough at times to get adjusted to, doing certain things that you may not be accustomed to always do?
Yeah, for sure. So all throughout college, I was a starting pitcher, but then as soon as I got here, they made it clear that I was going to be getting some roles out of the bullpen. So just kind of finding the right routine throughout the game, just to make sure your body's ready, because you don't know what inning you're going to come in or anything like that. So that's kind of been the biggest challenge so far.
Talk about that transition when you speak about college. Going from college to the minor leagues. The guys that I talk to in the G League or in college football, some of they talk about their transition from being true freshmen in high school to coming to college, and then in high school you're the best player on your team.
Right.
And once you get to college, you're everybody was the best player on that team in high school, and now it's you're putting together another all-star team where all of these guys are great together.
Right.
Then you leave from college, and now you're in the minor leagues, and then you take another step up to the pros. Talk about that transition of going from college to where you are right now, and just the level of the competition.
Yeah, so the level of competition, everyone's able to be successful at any given moment. So I think the biggest thing is just really honing in on what specific things you need to work on to improve yourself as a player, and just really focus on them and be consistent with it every day. And I think as long as you're diligent with that, the results should take care of itself in the field.
Is one of the toughest parts, would you say, is guys, being reassigned at certain points throughout the season is to how sometimes it can be difficult, building that chemistry or stringing along games, because you never know when guys may get pulled.
Yeah, right, for sure.
For you, as a pitcher, talk to me about your thought process of like what you're going through. Because I asked Jacob earlier, as he steps up to the plate to hit the ball, what his thought process is. For you, when you're on the mound, like what's your thought process of like what you're thinking at that certain time, at that particular moment in time?
So when I'm out on the mound, I tend to be my best when I'm just thinking clearly and just like present in the moment. So as long as I'm just focusing on the next pitch, like it's like when I work with a quicker pace, that's when I tend to get in like a little bit of a rhythm. So as long as I just am staying on compete mode and just attacking hitters, that's pretty much all I'm focusing on.
How much studying is it for you when you're looking at film? Are you watching? Of course, I know you want to watch your game. Are you paying attention to what other pitchers do?
Yeah.
Not to necessarily say you're imitating, but just learning certain things that they do. Are you studying like certain pitches or anything like that?
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, like me personally, I have to work on my lower half a little bit to like take me to the next level. And I see a lot of other guys who like have a really solid lower half, and I just kind of look over their routines and just kind of talk with them and get their mindset on how they go about everything. So that's really a huge part to it.
The level of discipline, when you're an athlete, you have to watch what you eat, and like, of course you always have to stay in the gym or on the field or just practicing. Being in this environment, you're down here at the beach, sometimes you get some downtime, or there's a lot of things going on. In certain cities, they don't have a beach where you can just go to.
Exactly.
Talk about the extra level of discipline that you guys have to have. Of course, playing baseball, and then, it's a nice sunny day in the spring, summertime, then you have a beach as well. Can you talk about the extra level of discipline that it takes, being in this environment?
Yeah, it definitely takes a lot of discipline going from the things you're putting into your body, just what you're eating on a daily basis, making sure you're getting the right hydration, proper sleep every day. So those are like the biggest parts. And as long as you're just kind of staying out of trouble on the field, like off the field, like that's pretty much the main focus.
What would you say is the next step for you guys, to turn things around and get this season on the right track that you want it to go?
I think just really sticking with the process. I mean, we know we have a lot of talented guys. We're very capable of winning some ball games. Just kind of not putting more pressure on ourselves and just kind of being ourselves and just kind of going through it.
I asked Jacob before we wrap the interview up. I get a chance, spend a lot of hours around a lot of athletes, whether it's college or in the pros. And the thing that I admire the most is how these guys, take the time to take pictures with the kids, sign autographs and things like that. So, and these kids are one day some of these kids are looking to be in the position that you guys are in. And for the kids that are watching this interview, or just anybody in general, but for those young athletes that want to strive to be in your position one day, what advice would you have for those kids?
The biggest thing for me is just understanding that like failure is a prerequisite to success. So like don't be afraid to go out there and fail, because it's gonna happen, especially in baseball. So as long as you don't get down on yourself and just kind of learn from each failure and each successful outing you have, that's the biggest part.
Before we got here, talk about that, saying you're gonna have a lot of failures in baseball. Just mentally, like how is that for you? No understanding going into this type of game that there's gonna be a lot of failures in baseball. It's not gonna be like any other sport, like basketball or football. Just for baseball, just a lot of times you're going to experience those failures. Just talk about that mental, understanding that mental part of the game.
Yeah, exactly. So the biggest thing is just focusing on what you can control. Like as a pitcher, like you can make the perfect pitch, but if the umpire calls it a ball when it's really a strike, like that's just something where you just got to get to the next pitch and just stay in compete mode. But yeah.
Absolutely. Nick, I want to thank you for your time. Best of luck today, and good luck going on the road.
Appreciate it. Thank you for your time, man.
All right, thank you.
Appreciate it.